Hey guys, Marisa at kitchentablestamper.com. Today I'm really excited to share with you the Yeti to Party Stampa Stack. Have you seen the Yeti stamps? Okay, so Yeti to Party is stamp set that's available from the Stampin' Up! Holiday catalog. And during the month of September, there is a Yeti to Party bundle. So the perfect partners are coming. Customers can begin to order either the Yeti to Party bundle or the Yeti dies. So if you already have the Yeti to Party stamp set, you can get the Yeti dies starting September. And these are item number 160253. And they are $28. Or if you don't have the stamp set yet, act quickly during the month of September because while supplies last, and not to be put into any future publication are the Yeti dies or the Yeti to Party bundle. The Yeti to Party bundle, where you can get both items and save 10%, is 162529. All right, so these are items that are coming, and I'm so excited to share the Stamp a Stack class with you. The Stamp a Stack class has an optional class packet in the Kitchen Table Stamper store while supplies last. kitchentablestamper.com/shop. Use the filter on the right-hand side to filter for class packets, and you will find these as long as we have some in stock. The packet will make these awesome 8 cards. 3 Yeti to Party, it's your birthday. This is the card we're making in this video. In video number 2, we'll make 3 Is It Christmas Yeti cards. And then in video number 3, this packet and the Wonder Recipe makes 2 Holiday Hugs and Winter Wishes cards. All right, so let's get started with our first card and take a look at our packet here. In your packet, you'll find your faceted gems, pale papaya ribbon, and a quarter of a package of the Storybook Gnome Designer Series paper. So you'll get 2 6x6 sheets of each design. Of course, you can choose any patterns you want for your Stamp a Stack. I am going to, for my birthday cards, go ahead and stick with this kind of Nordic snowflake, and 1 sheet will make our 3 cards. Now in your packet, you'll have all your card bases already cut for you. We're looking for those balmy blue ones. We're gonna go ahead and emboss the card bases using the whimsical tree folder. I love this new folder. You can use any folder that you want. We don't emboss for you. It would be hundreds and hundreds of cards, and we just can't do that. But you can choose any background that you want to do. Now, I went ahead in my packet and I embossed 2 of them, so we'll only do 1 on video. Oh, look at that. You get white cardstock for your Yetis, but I had not taken my original cardstock out, so these are the ones that are left because I do one of the copies ahead of time. All right, so you'll get 3 sheets of basic white cardstock in your kit. In each of your envelopes are going to be the pieces that we die cut for you. We do the die cutting and punching ahead of time for you, except for where it's images. So inside you're going to find your Pale Papaya Snowflake, your banner, and your tag, 1 for each card in the envelope. So let's go ahead and set those aside for just a minute and clear the space because we are going to bring in our paper trimmer to cut our Designer Series paper for all 3 copies, and then our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine to do our embossing. Our Designer Series paper for this design is 5 1/4 by 2 inches. So you'll get 3 pieces out of this 1 sheet. We'll start by doing our 5 1/4, which will leave us a nice little strip here. And this can be used either inside your cards or for another project. I used it on a treat box. There is a coordinating treat box for this class already on the blog at kitchentablestamper.com. I'll link to it in the blog post so that you can find that easy. It matches this card just perfectly. So we have our 3 pieces, 1 for each card. And I like to kind of, as I go along, just drop the pieces into the envelope because you're going to make 3 of each card, and this will help keep all your bits together and why not use the envelopes for the organization, and then you have them to send your cards later. All right, now for the one that we're working on here, I'm going to put my bits aside and do my embossing. This is a Stamp-A-Stack class, so I will go ahead when I'm doing these and not just emboss the one card that I'm working on, or not just emboss the one design that I'm working on. If I want all the cards embossed like I do in this set, and I'm doing it all with the same folder, I will do all of my embossing at one time. I'll get all 10 cards or all 8 cards or all 6 cards, whatever the Stamp-A-Stack makes, and do my backgrounds all at the same time. So for the sake of the videos, I'll do it one for each design. But just a little tip, if you've got the kit or if you're following along with the Stamp-A-Stack cutting your own kits, it's really smart to go ahead and cut all your designer series paper at once, do all of your embossing at once, do each step for each of the cards all at one time, and you'll really bust through these cards very quickly. All right, we're gonna line up our little folder to deboss the image. We're gonna put the fold in first, and then it's a 3D folder, so we're going to use our number 1 and number 4 plate. Right, number 4 goes right up on top, and give it a crank, and now you have a gorgeous, whimsical debossed forest. All right, we'll bring our sample back in here, and to stick with that Stamp-A-Stack productivity, I'm going to take all of my card bases and all of my designer series paper and all of my tags. We're going to do this step for all 3 cards at one time. All right, we've got our Pal Papaya ribbon. Let's go ahead and thread each of these tags with the Pal Papaya ribbon, and we're going to tie a bow. You can be pretty generous here. Don't tie any sort of an anchor knot, just loop up from the front, over from the top, tuck, and then pull. Now you'll get a nice flat bow at the top of the tag, and it's half the thickness. If you had tied an anchor knot underneath there first, it would be twice as thick, and it gets caught in the mail machines and everything. So just a little tip if you're going to mail these, anytime you're making a card really with a bow, is to go ahead and leave off that anchor knot so that it's not as thick at the center. All right, now we're going to cut away from the card, and we'll do that for our other 2 copies of this card. All right, there's our tags and our bows. Now we're going to adhere the layers to the background here. So we're going to add a tag. I'm going to use liquid glue. You could use a dry adhesive here to each of the cards, about a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch from the bottom, and about 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch from the right. And then the designer series paper goes right over that. I love this layout. Now for the other 2 copies of the card. Let's go ahead and adhere those layers. All right, there are our bases for this section of our Stamp-A-Stack. Now let's get our stamping done. In the envelope, you still have the banners and the snowflakes. Let's get those. Set aside our snowflakes, and let's get our Get Yeti to Party greeting. Love that, of all things punny. And we're going to use soft suede ink. We'll add our greeting to each of these banners. We're using Yeti to Party, which is photopolymer, so I want a Stampin' Pierce mat. And our sentiment is just right of center, so we have some room to add that snowflake and not cover our greeting. 1 greeting tag for each card. Now we're going to do our Yetis, and if I was doing my Yeti Stamp-A-Stack, I would stamp all of my Yetis. So this card kit makes 6 cards. or it makes 8 cards, and each card has a Yeti. Cards have presents on one and mug on the other and Christmas trees on the third. So I would do all of my stamping and all of my coloring for all of my cards at one time. And I did that. I did that ahead for each one. I made the extra copies. We're going to do one of each item on the video. And of course, you'll do either 3, one for each card, or you'll do, if you're doing the entire Stampin' Stack, you'll do 8 and just do all your coloring at one time. So we're going to stamp our Yeti in soft suede. And then a couple of little accessories. I love the accessories in the stamp set. They're just so cute. We've got 2. We want to do 2 of this tall present. And then 2 of this short present. And we need a party hat. Look at how cute that party hat is. And you might be like, well, my Yeti to party doesn't have a party hat. There's no party hat in my stamp set. Well, we're going to use the little tree and we're going to turn it into a party hat. I thought it was just the perfect fit and a fun way to just add a little something more to this card. So stamp the little Christmas tree. And then we're going to color. Let me clear away the ink pad and the Stampin' Pierce mat and get my Stampin' blends. Here's our sample to follow. And our Stampin' blends for this project are light crumb cake and light or dark petal pink, color lifter, light soft suede, light calypso coral, dark balmy blue, and dark mint macaron. And those are the colors that I'll use throughout the whole Stampin' Stack. So when I'm coloring my Stampin' Stack, I like to go through and do all of the things that need to be done in each color. So I would go through and I would color all 8 of my Yeti's tongues. I'd do their cheeks. And we're going to use the Calypso Coral and the color lifter for that. I do my presents and my accessories and everything. And I do everyone for every card that I was doing all at one time. And that way you don't open and close the same marker, put it down, pick it up, open and close it over and over again. You just do all the Calypso Coral at one time for all the cards. So just another little pro tip for Stampin' Stack, and do all your Calypso Coral for all your copies of all your cards at one time. I'm going to do even my little party hat. Has a little Calypso Coral on it. I would do all 3 party hats, all 3 presents, all 3 bows, all at one time. And now for my presents, I kind of alternated the colors. So the Calypso Coral got balmy blue bows, and the Calypso Coral bow got balmy blue paper, or gift wrap, I guess. So then I'd go through and do the balmy blue stripe on the party hat. And then same with the mint macaron. Get a dark mint macaron row on our party hat. Little present. And then the big bow. And then I'll switch to pale papaya and do the pale papaya line and bow and present. Then I go through and do all my Yetis. We're going to do them all the same. The Yetis are going to get this kind of fuzzy texture, and I'm going to show you how I'll do that. So I'll take my light crumb cake here and fill in my little Yeti. And I made the ink bleed over here next to the Yeti's face, so I'm going to work a little bit. Hopefully we'll be able to just push that ink deep into the cardstock if that happens, but be careful. I have one that's running out. Let me switch. Be careful not to do too much alcohol ink over your soft suede line so that you don't cause the ink to bleed. You might be able to, if you play with it enough, push the soft suede bleed back into the cardstock and kind of clean it up a little bit. We'll see what we can do. We're doing little circles and we're kind of keeping them open circles. We're not completely filling in with a solid fill like we usually do with our base coat. Just doing little circles, but they're a little bit more open than we usually do. Okay, so now he looks like a not quite filled in crumb cake Yeti. We're gonna give him that kind of fuzzy feeling by doing the same thing, little circles, open circles with a color lifter. We'll go all over. Here we're gonna work on pushing back that soft suede ink where it bled. And you'll see the bottom half of our Yeti has open crumb cake circles. The top half where we've gone over with the color lifter is starting to look kind of felted and fuzzy, like we've got a furry little Yeti dude. And so just keep working the little color lifter circles, open circles over the crumb cake open circles until you get the kind of texture that you like. As the marker, the color lifter ink soaks into the cardstock and starts to dry, you'll see the effect become more and more obvious. So just finish up your Yetis by adding that little texture element. And you can see where it bled around the face. It's getting less and less obvious as we keep going back and pushing it deeper into the cardstock using the crumb cake and the color lifter. Now we're going to switch to our light soft suede and do Yeti's horns. And now the fun part. We get to use our brand new Yeti dies to cut all of our bits out. Before I do that, I'm going to go one more touch over where my ink bled with my color lifter. Try and push it back a little bit more. And now we'll bring in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and cut these out. So you're going to do one of each color presents, one party hat, and one Yeti for each card. Got my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine all set up for cutting, and all of my dies are set up right here with a little bit of low-tack tape. So I can just hold this down in place. We're going to do a couple of passes here because we have one die for the small present and one die for the large present, but we have to cut out two. So 2 passes, get these guys all cut out. Okay, so we've got our little Yeti bits die cut, and one for each of our card copies. I like to put them up on my Stampin' Pierce mat. Now I've got kind of a little tray for them. Here's our sample and our first card. Let's go ahead and adhere our banner with some liquid glue. It's going to budge right up to that ribbon, go across the front of the tag. You can see a little corner of that tag peeking out. And then our little Yeti. Love this dude. We're going to put him on. Don't cover your greeting. He's kind of walking right across the top of the card there, or the tag. Now the snowflake. And just a little dabs of liquid glue kind of on the ends there is a great way to adhere that down and not make a mess. We'll do that for all 3 copies. Glue on those layers with a flat liquid glue. All right, now for our little party hats, you can decide if you want to put them on flat or with dimensionals. When you add the little gem to the top, if you put it on with dimensionals, it's going to kind of tip back a little bit for the gem to adhere. So your choice what you want to do. I'm going to put them on with liquid this time and see which way I like them better, because I have some of each. So a little party hat, and you'll notice we just cut the trunk right off the tree to make that adorable little party hat. Makes me laugh every time. And the presents, I think that they need Stampin' Dimensional, so I'm going to grab some minis. And we'll put a little mini dimensional on the back of all of our presents. We've got 4 presents and 3 cards, so we're going to put a little mini dimensional on each one. Okay, each of my little presents has a dimensional, and now they're all sticky. Let's go ahead and load up Yeti's arms full of presents. I think this is where the card really gets kind of festive and fun. We've got all these bright, happy presents all stacked up. We want the top one to be tipping just a little bit. So cute. Last step and the really fun part, if you ask me. I love these fine sparkle adhesive back gems. I had to go get mine so that I could remember the name of them. You get almost a third of a package in your kit, and we're gonna embellish with them. I decided that I was going to put a little, 3 of them. I'm using the pale papaya, large one in the center of the snowflake, and then 2 kind of dancing up from the snowflake, and then a large one on the top of Yeti's hat. So now you can do whatever you want. You get 3 rows of 4 different colors, and there's lots of choices. You can mix and match them, do each card a little bit differently, or you can follow the samples exactly. It's up to you. I'm going to stick with the pale papaya. I really love how it ties together the ribbon and the snowflake with a little bit of pale papaya sparkle. So there it is. We are done. We have done our first design in the Yeti 2-party Stamp-A-Stack class. This is card number 1. We made 3 of them in the Stamp-A-Stack. There's 2 more videos. I'll make sure that I link them all together. In the next video, video number 2, we'll get back into our kit and make 3 of Is It Christmas, Yeti? Thanks for joining me. I'll see you in video number 2. If you've got questions, email Marisa at kitchentablestamper.com. To shop Stampin' Up 24/7, buzz over to marisa.alvarez.stampinup.net, click shop, pick up your perfect partners. Not only does Yeti to Party have companion dies, but so do 5 other stamp sets: Waterfall, Canyon, Birthday Piggy, Trimming the Tree, Fresh Cut Flowers, and Apple Harvest. Now all have dies or are available in a bundle just for the month of September. All right, you guys, I'll see you in video number 2. Thanks for watching.